Hello and welcome to the Root to Success. I'm here with Judy Schramm with ProResource, who I recently met and was super excited to learn about. She has a lot of experience, and we are going to just have a great conversation today and learn as much as we can. Hi, Judy. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, I'm delighted to be here.
So, first, if you could just give us a 30-second overview of your company and what you do and how people could find you, that would be fabulous.
Sure. I run a marketing agency called ProResource, and we specialize in doing personal branding for CEOs and executives. We use LinkedIn to position them as thought leaders, build their networks, and help them achieve their goals faster.
Which is so important.
It is. You can find our website at ProResource.com. And I'll just say it is packed with resources for people who are interested in building their brand. Things from an ebook about how to build your brand to a branding worksheet so you can think through some of the issues. And then we have tons of examples of people who have excellent LinkedIn profiles so that you can see it in action, how building a strong brand works.
And I will say in 2025, having that strong personal brand is more important than ever. But if you are like me, you might as well be trying to talk to me in Chinese to get me to understand how to build a brand. So I value what you do, Judy. It's so important. So Judy, that's very interesting that you work in marketing, specifically in personal branding. What is your passion? What drives you to do this on a daily basis?
Well, actually, I am passionate about marketing. I know that sounds kind of obvious, but ever since I discovered marketing in my 20s, I have just been in love with it. And, to the point that I think marketing all the time. I can be on vacation and I'll be in a store and I'll think to myself, if they would just do this, then they could bring in so much more traffic. Or, if they did a cross promotion with these folks, that would really work for both of them. It's just part of who I am. But, if you look at marketing as, what is marketing really? It's really about helping people who have problems find solutions. And so at a deeper level, I love helping people figure out the solutions to their problems and helping them get where they're going faster. And in my business, we do that with CEOs and senior executives, helping them get to the next milestone, get the next promotion or board seat or whatever it is that they're looking for. I just love doing that.
I understand what you're saying. I love my work with nonprofits and small businesses, and I'm the same as you. I'll be out on vacation and I see things and I'm like, oh, but I loved what you said, because ultimately what drives us down is we love solving other people's problems and helping. And I think that's one of the most powerful gifts you can have. And I will say, I love how your mind is constantly going, how you're normalizing when you have a passion, when you're working in the right field, when you're chasing that passion, you just see it all the time and you do it. And let me ask this question. Would you say it's energizing?
Oh, totally. I get so much energy from doing what I do. I absolutely love it.
What in your journey, what has been your biggest learning opportunity? What has made you have that aha moment? Or maybe there's a multiple.
Oh, so many. I have learned so much from our clients, and from things like how do you run a business? How do you treat your customers? How do you hire and manage great people? To how they think. How does a CEO of a big company think about the world and about what they're trying to accomplish and how you steer a big business? To the CEOs of the smaller companies, how do you get a business off the ground? They have taught me so much.
it's, I would say, learning in the field, and that's the best kind of learning for sure. So in a day, in an average day, what would you say are the roadblocks that pop up, and what personal tactics do you use to keep yourself positive and motivated to overcome those roadblocks?
Yeah. So one of the great things about running your own business is that you can create a business that aligns with who you are as a human and how you want to live. And I am a little ADD, like, 40% of entrepreneurs. And as a result, I have structured my business in a way that works for me. So I don't have, extreme amounts of frustration in my life or roadblocks, because I structure my life so that I don't have them. But I would say, if I have to pick something, I would say resistance. I think especially when I'm trying to take a big step in the business, when I'm trying to do something that's hard for me, I'm an introvert. And so, one of the things we recommend to all of our clients is being on video. And I really do not want to be on video. And so, just things, I know I need to do it,
Right.
so I, just getting myself past those, that natural resistance to doing something new, doing something hard, because I know I need to do it. And I use a lot of kind of new agey techniques. So I do the Sedona method. I find very effective at dealing with resistance. If I'm kind of in crisis mode, I use EFT, emotional freedom technique. That's also called tapping.
Oh,
I do journaling. There are a lot of techniques, tactics,
right.
things that are just fairly quick and tangible that help you do the things that you need to be doing. At the end of the day, it's, I've learned that if there's something I don't want to do, and the more I don't want to do it, the more I know I need to do it and just get it over with, because otherwise it's going to be hanging over me. And I'd rather have it done and feel that pride that it was done than have, it hanging over me and feel like I'm not taking that, not walking through the fear, not, getting past
Right.
all the reasons I have for not doing it.
You said so much there that I just kind of want to pause and unpack for a minute, because what you said was so powerful. So I think I just really truly connected with you when you started off with, you have ADD. I'm very ADHD. I have the most ridiculous, very high diagnosis of it. And I was not as successful as I could be until I started my own business. And it's because of what you said. We can structure our day in a way that works for us. And I think that's so paramount that people don't understand. I've come across so many entrepreneurs that are like, I have to work 8 to 5. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I look at them and I'm like, no, you don't. What is your best work time? What is your best work day? How does your day start for you? And I think when you start answering those questions and being honest, that's when you hit that golden hour, or whatever you want to call it, to get there. And I love how you said that you call them new age techniques to recenter yourself. I do very similar things. So I keep 3 rocks on my desk so that when I feel completely just overwhelmed, I can look at the rocks and picture where I was with my one dog when we went rock hunting, and it just grounds me. And then, I honestly, I spend probably more of my day outside than I do inside. I take lots of walks, and I have found when something makes me very just crisis mode, it's so funny because what I do is I think, okay, I'm dehydrated. Let me drink some water. Then, okay, let me go get some movement. And halfway through that process, it's like, oh, okay. And then what else you said, and I know I'm reiterating, saying back to you a lot, but I just really want people to hear this. When you have something that you really don't want to do, that is the thing you need to do the most. and just getting it done instead of procrastinating. I love how you said then you can live with the pride of getting it done. What does that after effect of living with that pride, how does that positively impact your day?
I think it strengthens you. Every time you do something that was hard and then you did it, you did it, and then the next time you can do it again. It just builds character, and it builds the habit of doing things that you don't want to do, doing things that
Right.
are going to be hard for you.
Which is every day. For me, it's billing. I don't know what it is for you, but me, billing is just that one thing. So I make sure I do it the first thing that day that I do it. Okay. If you were talking to somebody who was in their 20s, who maybe wanted to go into marketing or maybe just wanted to be an entrepreneur, because you could answer this from either way, what piece of advice would you give to them?
So I would say, well, let's start with this. There are some people who are very happy going to work, doing something they don't particularly enjoy, getting paid good money for it, going home, and then the rest of their life is the part that matters. For those people, I would say, figure out who's going to pay you the most for what you're good at, and then go follow that path, right?
Right.
For those of us who, I think like you and me, need to do something that we're passionate about, then what I would say is two things. The first is you've got to follow your nose. You have to discover the thing that you're passionate about. And what that means is you have to have a lot of experiences, you have to meet a lot of people, you have to spend a lot of time poking around the corners of the internet to discover the thing that sets you on fire. And especially if you're planning to start a business, it's going to be hard. Almost always it's going to be hard, and it'll be hard in different ways for different people and at different times in growing the business, but it's going to be hard. And if you have that passion that drives you, that fire in your belly where you can't not do it, then that is what's going to propel you through it. And if you wait for that fire, you will have something that really matters and something that will be meaningful in your life, where you're going to make a difference, and it's going to be just a huge important thing for you. So be willing to put the time in to find that thing. And that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, don't get caught up in, and this is more on the marketing side, but even for CEOs as well, don't feel like, oh, I have to have a degree, I have to have a certification, right. I can't do it until barrier, right? I have to get over this official thing before I'm allowed to do it. And that is so not true. If you want to do marketing, go find somebody who needs marketing and help them out. Just do it. If that means you're doing it for free, fine. That's how you learn. Especially in marketing, you learn by doing. You're not going to learn in the classroom anywhere near as much, because the marketing is changing so fast that whatever you've learned 6 months ago is already out of date. So just get in there, get your hands dirty, and do stuff. The world is full of businesses that need marketing. Most business owners have no idea how to go about marketing. They're not comfortable with it, and it holds their business back. So if you want to be a marketer, then go market. If you want to have an AI business, then go play with AI. Spend hours and hours a day in neck deep in AI and just do it. There's so many people who have imposter syndrome, or who feel like they have to have an MBA, or whatever it is, and you don't. Just go do it.
I agree entirely. So let me ask you a question that I thought of as you were saying that. So as we go through different decades in our lives, I feel like we change and we grow. How does that affect you as a business owner? And maybe have you found that your passions change as you're in different stages of life?
Yeah, I mean that I think that's very true. And when I was younger, just in marketing, I wanted to do the marketing. And I wanted to be the one who was designing the ad campaigns and creating the websites and writing the copy and doing all those things. And as I got a little bit older, I realized I don't want to do the things anymore. I wanted to manage other people doing the things. And so your role in the business does evolve. And the great part about running your own business is that you can set up your business to do the things that you enjoy and have other people do the things that you don't. And I just love having that level of control.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for creative people especially, which I think what I do is creative. I know what you do is creative, not having those barriers. I'm not sure if that's the right word of having to work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, right? Because sometimes I don't know if you're like me, you wake up thinking about a project and you start at 5 a.m. and you might go till 5 p.m. And then there's days where you need to take care of a few things and you maybe don't sit down to work till 3, but you get great work done by 5. So I think especially in that creative world, we need that flexibility. Would you agree?
I wanted that when I was younger. And I I would. I mean, I still think about business all the time, all the time.
Right.
Um, I was much more fluid with work hours when I was younger. And, creativity strikes when creativity strikes. And so,
Right.
you know, I would, do that. But unfortunately, I have a tendency to be a workaholic and to burn out. And I have burned out more than once, and it was not a pleasant experience. And what I ended up doing, and again, this is a little bit about, as you get older, I put boundaries. And so I might think about work, but I do not work in the evenings and I do not work on the weekends. And I do not take calls after 6 o'clock unless it's a real, I mean, we work with people around the world. And so
Right.
sometimes I need to take calls at odd hours, but I have very strong boundaries. And when we had an office for years, and then during COVID, everybody went home, and nobody wanted to come back to the office but me. And so we now have everybody working at home. And so I have an office in my home, and when I close the door to that office, I am done. I do not go back in there. And these are boundaries that I've set up so that I can have a life that I love. And I didn't have those boundaries when I was younger, and that was fine. And now I have them, and that's also fine. So, you need to be productive in the way that works for you.
What if I was to ask you what the best piece of marketing advice that you could give to a business owner? I know what I would say, but I'm curious, what would you say?
I would say talk to your customers and talk to your prospects. They will tell you what they want, and they will tell you what their problems are. And
Right.
not only that, they will tell you that you listen to the language they use, and that will tell you what language you should be using in your own marketing.
I love that because when I teach grant writing, I always tell people, or when I teach people how to speak about their nonprofit to donors, I say exactly what you said. Use the same vocabulary your audience uses. You look at the problems they're facing and present those back. So there's a lot of things that line up. But for me, taking that step from speaking about it to marketing is like a 20-foot gap I couldn't jump over. So my advice is hire a great marketing company So let me end with this question. Um, what would you, what is the best question you could ask a marketing company when you're interviewing them to potentially hire them for your business? What should you be asking them?
I don't know that it's so much what you should be asking them as the depth of the conversation that you have. I don't think there are any like magic questions. And to be fair, that does depend on the type of marketing. Like I just published a blog yesterday about how to hire a LinkedIn ghostwriter that had questions that you would ask somebody for LinkedIn. For grant writing, you're going to ask different things. But
Right.
what you want to do is have a conversation around what the problem is and what you want to accomplish. And you want to listen to what questions they ask you. Do they understand what you're saying, or are they very, of course we can do that, oh, that's no problem, are they very vague, or do they dig into what's happening and in your nonprofit, in your organization, and show that they really understand what you need? Because the deeper their expertise, the better they understand you, the better the work product is going to be.
Because ultimately it's a relationship, and you need a relationship, to be in that relationship with somebody you can speak to and work well with, I think.
Yes.
So, all right. Judy, thank you so much for your time today. I want to stress, if you need resources, if you're like me and you want to read things, please go to the ProResource website. You can check Judy out. You can see all of her great advice there. And then I will tell you, she's a very warm person, very, very easy to speak to. Don't hesitate to reach out to her. She's very approachable, which I think is very important in business, and you will have a great conversation with her. So Judy, thank you so much for your time today. I deeply appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. It was a real pleasure.
Have a great one. Bye.
You too. Take care. Bye.